Number 5, what we have is this function here, f of x, is negative 4x plus 1. So x is the input here. That whole collection of symbols is the output. So it says when the input is x, the output is found by taking that x, multiplying it by negative 4, and adding 1. There's a lot of information here if we just know how to read it. Now what we want to do is find f of 0. So if we input 0, what do we output? So when the input is 0, the output is, well, let's see. What are we going to get? So what I'm going to do here is come back up here and replace that x with a 0. You can see that that x has been replaced with a 0, so replace all the x's with a 0. So it'll look like this now. It'll be f of 0 equals negative 4 times 0 plus 1. F of 0 is negative 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. All right, there we go. Now, two things about this. Here's how you read this. You read it like this. F of 0 is 1. And what it means is, when the input is 0, right, and the input, that's inside the parentheses. So when the input is 0, the output, that whole collection of symbols, is 1. So when the input is 0, the output is 1. For this one, I'll draw a picture just so we get a big picture of what's going on here. Here's our domain. Here's our range. Now we pick a domain element. In this case, it's 0. So we're going to pick a 0. And then we're going to use this function here. Now what's the name of the function? The name of the function, okay, I'm right here at the top. The name of the function is f. So we're going to use this function here. Like, okay, what rule should we use? Well, let's just name it f. Now right below that, I'm going to say exactly what the rule is. The rule is negative 4x plus 1. And what is this x? The x is just a placeholder for whatever you put here. So if you put in 0, process it with this function, what do you get? You get back out a 1. In number 9, look what we have here. Looks like the variable here is y, and then we're going to process with a rule called g, a processor called g. So if you put in y, now y is just a placeholder for whatever number is going to come in, what do you do with it? Well, you do all this to it. So what we want to do in this problem is we want to find g, and what are we going to put in here? We're going to put in negative 5. So let's do that. Take negative 5, locate g, and you can see here the y up here has been replaced with negative 5, so we replace all the y's with negative 5. We'll get this. G of negative 5 is equal to negative. Now, put that negative 5 right there. So it's already negative. Now you have negative 5 squared plus 9 times. Now take that negative 5, take this negative 5 and put it right there. So 9 times negative 5 plus 8. So we will get negative, now negative 5 squared is 25. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45 plus 8. So this is negative 70 plus 8. I'm thinking we get negative 62 out of this. So g of negative 5 is negative 62. And even though we're not asked to do this in the problem, let's do it. Let's read it. What does this tell us? We just have to learn how to read the notation. It says, now the inside is negative 5, so you say when the input is negative 5, so when the input is negative 5, the output, that whole collection of symbols, the output is negative 62. So if you do this, if you start here with a negative 5, put it into this G rule, the G processor, what do you get back out? Negative 62. So in 19, we've got a G rule. Here's what we're calling this rule right here. That expression, that processor, we're just calling that G. And here's what G has to do with X. You do all of this. Now, what is X? That's just a placeholder for what we're going to put in. Now, what we're putting in is a P, right? It doesn't always have to be a number. It could be anything. We're putting in a P. So what do you do with a P? Well, you can see that that x has been replaced with p, so go up here and replace all the x's with p. We're going to get that g of p is negative. Now what do you do with that p? You put it here and here. After all, you can see it's been put up here, right? G of p. The p has been put here, so you have to put it everywhere you see an x. So this is going to be negative p squared plus 2p plus 4. And that's the best we can do, right? We can't combine anything. We could if they were numbers, but that's the best we can do.